Yeah, I've got to be leaving here at 1:15.
Good afternoon, everybody. Leanne, councillors, staff, community. Of course, you know Jo Wells, our board governance manager, and I mention her every time because we've got a video there and some of the community might not know her. I would actually at this point like to request a letter from the council to go to my little grandson, who's 3, called Moses, who I couldn't pick up at 12:30 because we were running late. So one of the consequences of being on the community board. So he'll be very disappointed. Also, thank you to those that filled in for us last month. There was a few people that couldn't make it to be filling in while we were away. I believe Lester was one of them. Thanks, Lester, but you're actually fired because your PowerPoint presentation skills weren't up to Joe.
Although we have nothing on the screen.
We've got nothing on the screen. Is it not working today?
Maybe you're really quiet.
Oh, there we go. No, great, thanks very much. So decisions under delegation, I'll just talk to a couple of them because I'm going to mention some of them, others afterwards. I unfortunately don't have a picture for this particular one, but it's about the Neighbourhood Week applications and the funding that we had. Absolutely fantastic. I attended our own street breakfast. Just to have this available to a community is fantastic. I know that Councillor David East, he also had one in his area, and he even got out and mowed the lawns in his little park in his street before it commenced. So good job, Councillor East there. But a really great initiative that the council, gets out there for our community to engage more and connect more. So thank you. And the extended time frame too was also well received by the community. The next slide, we have the Rafferty School pool. This has been really successful. We granted some money towards this, and last year they had 8,000 visitors, which was amazing. And it looks like we're going to have a great summer, so that will be the same again. The part A that we have for council today is the 9021 Rothesay Road application for formed access, and the Coastal-Burwood Community Board recommends that the council decline the application to form an access and undertake landscaping over the unformed legal road adjoining 902 Rothesay Road. Significant projects and initiatives. Yanni, you'll be pleased about this one. It's the QE2 Master Plan. We're talking with staff. We've begun discussions about this, and we'll have an update for you in the next report. Significant matters, community issues here we have regarding the South New Brighton Estuary Edge. At one of our last previous council monthly meetings, it was recommended, I think by you, Leanne, that we connect and find the views of the Avon Heathcote Estuary Ihutai Trust, which we have done, and we received this letter, and I'd just like to read it to you. It was to the Mayor and to our Community Board. As the future of the Estuary Edge in South New Brighton is currently being considered by the Council and the Coastal-Burwood Community Board, the Avon Heathcote Estuary Ihutai Trust has also discussed this matter, and at its meeting on the 11th of October 17 resolved as follows. That in light of the Christchurch Council discussion about flood protection in the South Brighton area, the Estuary Trust states that A. For the area from Bridge Street to South Brighton Jetty, there are significant wetlands that should be protected and enhanced, and the Trust believes a combination of wetland protection and flood protection is easily compatible. B. For the area from the jetty to the Jellicoe Marsh, recreational and access values are significant, and that erosion protection is necessary to safeguard those values. For your information, the Jellicoe Marsh is the area enclosed by the boardwalk at the south end of South New Brighton Park. So we're only talking a very small part, but if this doesn't go ahead, there'll be major damage. So this correspondence supports and confirms the Community Board's approach to this area and our recommendation to the Council on the short-term options report. And the Board would like to see work start prior to the finalisation of a regeneration plan and before we lose any more land, trees or scenic walkway. And we do have a meeting with Regenerate Christchurch on Friday to discuss this and the Rafferty land swap, which I'll be talking about shortly. Moka Park Flying Fox, next one you can see up there. The Board approved the relocation of the Flying Fox. Work has started on this as we speak. The Board's decision was made in recognition of the District Plan nighttime noise level thresholds. Community Board significant matters of interest. It was really good to, thank you Leanne, to ask Ivan a couple of questions when he came from Regenerate Christchurch there. It was good to hear that he's going to connect with the 2 community boards adjacent to the Avon Otakaro network, the red zone. But I do want to actually say this on behalf of our community, the issues that have been for them around the 10 possible combinations of land uses and activities. The consultation period was, as you probably know, for 4 weeks. However, the informational gathering was for a year. So Regen were able to gather for a year, but the community were only given the 4-week period. And staff and the community board members were hearing quite clearly from the community that this was too tight a time frame, was insufficient time, and for people in the community groups to fully appreciate and understand what they were submitting on. So on behalf of the community, as a community board, we wrote to Regenerate Christchurch and asked them if they would extend the consultation period, but that was not granted. Other community groups had also requested the same thing. Because of those 5 options, of the 10, 5 of those options included land swap with the Rafferty Golf Course. This was news to our community board when we were told on the 17th of September, and so we wrote another letter to Regenerate. We needed to ask the questions on how did this come about and where did the idea come from, because the extension with the we're going to go, as you heard today, from 10 options to 3. So this is a very critical time of the consultation period for the community to really understand, because they're going to lose 7 of those options. The other thing I wanted to mention too was the community were very strongly opposed to a land swap. They organised their own public meeting last week, and Regenerate Christchurch was going to have a very clear and strong message that the community do not want anything built on this golf course, even given the fact that a couple of years ago they fought to actually retain the golf course. So it's actually a very unfortunate position that we're in, because it has taken the focus off the other exciting aspects that are happening through this process and what they have been doing. But our community feel that they have lost enough green space and lost enough and had enough things taken from them. So this was just one thing they wanted to get across to Regenerate Christchurch, and Ivan knows all these things, so we will be discussing these again on Friday. Another thing was, I think I've talked about the Breeze Walking Festival other people have. So there was 2,500 preschoolers and their parents attended the Gruffalo Explorer Walk in Bottle Lake Forest, and that's absolutely fantastic, these preschoolers getting in there. And I don't know how they didn't get lost, but it was well done to all the staff and everybody that organised that. So up here we have something very exciting that Glenn gets excited about. You know that you'll be aware that there was improvements made to the surface of the Wainoni Park, and so the Aranui Eagles Rugby League Club were able to welcome the Scottish Rugby League World Cup team. So that was a really great thing. So it was awesome to see how the impact of this surface is actually being received in the community, and they're really getting in and being able to, you know, invite people of such high standard here, world-class standard, onto these improved sites. So fantastic. Glenn was all over it, weren't you, Glenn? So also here we had fireworks night on the weekend. Just to quickly go through a few things, we had thousands of people down. It was absolutely spectacular. Thank you, Christchurch City Council, for putting that on, and to the other sponsors. We had a fantastic weekend. The night was beautiful. It was a howling day, but the wind just all calmed down as it was, and the council staff spread the event across the foreshore. So we had speakers at South Brighton and we had speakers at North Beach. So that was fantastic, and people really well received that. Thank you very much. Also on that weekend we had the Gentleman's Smash Palace Bike Show, which was back to the beach, and we had bikes, we had noise, we had leather, and it was all happening on the beach that weekend, which was amazing. We also had across the road, they had a V-dub show, so just an outstanding weekend. The weather was amazing, and there was also disc golf display in Rafferty Domain. And this weekend we've got the Rockabilly and the New Brighton Market going to happen in Rafferty Domain as well, but we'll have some information on that at another time. So that's the end of my report, but I do want to just bring up something regarding the coastal hazards in this assessment document. So the Community Board would just like to respectfully request that this be updated to reflect some further accurate information that leaves no room for misinterpretation. Leanne, I've just sent you some of our key points. We're really trying to project and build a community of hope and a future, and so we'd just like to be able to have the opportunity to sit down and just have a bit of a discussion about this, please. Thank you.
I'm actually going to have to go to my next thing as well. but I'm more than happy to go through that. I've had a quick look at it, and I think that it's a matter of emphasis, and you're trying to emphasise one side of things, which is certainly included in the context of the report. So I think with a little bit of toing and froing, we should be able to get that to an agreed position. So that's fine. I appreciate
that. Thank you.
Yep. So now David and Glenn would like to move and second the receipt of the report. So are there any questions for Kim? Very comprehensive.
I've got a positive comment to offer. But
yep, you can always offer a positive comment.
Simply with this whole kind of climate change space for the board, that letter from, and I stood aside because I'm the liaison person, but that letter from the trust has really opened things up, and it's really brought the board and the trust together kind of on the same page, and I think that will also be good for the board's relationship with the council, because you're kind of seeing a meeting of minds to some degree there. We've also included climate change in our community board plan, so we've made that explicit, so it mirrors the council part of the plan, and that was a good move, and that went through unanimously as well. So we're getting there, you know. I think it's good to see some progress rather than a kind of loggerheads thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start a...
Our board too included the climate change in the plan, and I think it's commendable because clearly, you know, it'll be the board working with the community as we discussed earlier this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Great. All right, well, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And I'll leave Andrew in the chair for the next few items.